Hello and welcome to Prep Eve. Today I'll be sharing the key strategies that you should keep in mind during the CELPIP test. To know more about CELPIP, don't forget to hit the subscribe button because I've started this CELPIP series after completing the IELTS content. Let's have a look at the things that you have to keep in mind during the test. First, time, watch the clock. Know the time constraints for the test. Be aware of where the timers are. So the timers are on the right top corner in most of the questions, I guess in all of the questions in fact, and know how they help you complete each part of the test in time. So keep a track of the time, keep looking at the timer after every few minutes so that the timer doesn't go up and you don't automatically move on to the next question. Second is listening and reading. Eliminate incorrect answers. Remember what you learned in class and whenever possible, eliminate answers when they clearly cannot be the right answers. Now, elimination is the easiest way of reaching the right answer. This is one of my favorite lines. If you have watched my IELTS videos, you would know this, you would relate to this, which is don't find the right answer, instead eliminate the wrong ones. So it is highly important to remove the incorrect answers rather than obsessing over finding the right answer. If you follow this strategy, half of your burden would get reduced in your listening and reading tests. Of course, I will be making more videos when I'm solving each and every question type, but for now, keep this rule in mind because we will be implementing this when we start solving the questions. Third is listening and reading, guess wisely. Once you've eliminated the answers that you think must be wrong, you're equipped to make a better guess about the right answers. And here, one key thing that you have to remember is there is no negative marking. So if there is no negative marking, even if you're not sure about a certain answer, you can still mark it. Take the best guess possible, whichever you feel, whichever you are intuitive about, mark that as your answer because even if it's wrong, you still get a 0, but if it's right, you get 1 mark. So never leave a question unattempted. Always attempt the question by first eliminating the options that you are 100% sure are wrong, and then you'd be left with probably 2 options, and out of those 2 options, you decide which one would work best and click on that. In case of writing and speaking, use the time provided to plan what you're going to write or say. Now, planning is really crucial. Before you start typing on the keyboard, remember that you should have some sort of structure in your mind. Without the structure, the answer could be haywire, it could go haphazard, so plan. Remember that you have enough time to organize your written responses and to think about what you want to say for your spoken responses. You've already practiced this in class. I hope all of you are taking some or the other feedback from some of the institutes that are there, and if you are not and if you're confused about where should I get my writings and speakings evaluated, you can give us a call. Our numbers are in the description box and we'll connect with you. We'll understand your concerns, we'll understand how much time you have to take the test, what is your deadline like, how much time you can devote on a daily basis, what are your working hours, and accordingly we'll curate a plan for you which will be customized just keeping in mind your requirements, and then the classes will help you in planning, organizing your writing as well as your speaking answers. In case of writing, you have the opportunity to edit your work unlike the speaking test. So leave a few minutes at the end to review and improve what you have written. So this is something you have to keep in mind. Proofread your answers. You have the options to edit, and when I say edit, you have the option of using cut, copy, paste, all of that is available, so you can make changes as many times as you want. And there was this funny conversation, or let's say a funny question that a student asked me years ago, but I still remember this question. I guess it was in one of the YouTube comment sections as well after a few months, wherein the student very innocently asks that, ma'am, if I am attempting the self-pip writing tasks and I type something, if I start backspacing, okay, if I hit the backspace or if I delete my sentence or my word, would that impact my scores? Would I be penalized for correcting my answer or removing a certain sentence from my survey or from my email? So, first of all, the answer is a big fat no. There's no such thing. It's not like they're tracking how many times you're writing, how many times you're deleting. None of that is happening. Just make sure that you're able to complete the answer in the stipulated time and you write within the word limit of 150 to 200 words. Don't stress about such silly things that backspace would penalize you or backspace would cost you some sort of band score. That's not the case. I mean, it's a really innocent question, but as you can see, I found it funny then. I still find it funny whenever I'm explaining it. So if you have any similar questions like that, don't hesitate. Even if it's a funny question, go ahead, ask it, because it's always a better idea to clarify your doubts rather than keeping it in your head and stressing over it. So if any of you were stressing over the backspace issue, now you know that you can backspace as many times in your CELPIP test. Last is never give up. When the test gets really hard, do not give up, do not lose hope. Remember the things that you have learned through the YouTube videos, like the ones that I'm creating, or in your classes, and try to implement those as much as possible in case of your writing, speaking, listening, and reading test. And please remember one thing, even if one module is messed up or you go wrong in one of the modules, let's say listening wasn't good enough, don't get disheartened, don't lose hope and think that okay, now I have to retake the test anyway, so I'll not attempt reading, writing, and speaking properly. Think of them as separate tests. If listening was not good, if listening was a terrible test, let's assume, forget about it. Focus on reading and try to score as much as possible in your reading. Let's say if the last section or last part of the reading test was incomplete, you were not able to complete it and the timer was up and you automatically moved to the writing, forget about the reading module. Don't obsess over it. Start focusing on your writing task then, and so on and so forth for your speaking test. Even in the speaking test, one of the students shared that she was doing pretty well till her speaking task 2, but from task 3 onwards, as the images started popping up, she became nervous and she wasn't able to perform well, and then she lost hope and messed up all her other tasks that were left. In case of speaking as well, since there are 8 tasks, let's say you mess up the 5th one, you're not able to articulate well, or you were quiet and you were not able to think of enough ideas and you were not able to speak till the timer went out. In that case, forget about the 5th task. Focus on 6th, 7th, 8th and try to ensure that you give your 100% in the rest of the tasks. For this, you have to train your mind regularly, day to day in your practice sessions as well. If you think of restarting everything whenever you mess up once, it will backfire in your real test. So don't restart your test, don't restart your listening, reading, or don't restart your speaking test. Go with the flow. When you're practicing at home as well, imagine it to be the real life CELPIP test. How will it go? You cannot go back, you cannot go forward. You have to answer the way the flow of the test is. So that's about it for the things that you have to keep in mind during the test. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also like this video, because I'm making a lot of more content for CELPIP now.